Hello again everybody. I mentioned in my last video that I was going to do an upload about the quality of the Midori paper. As you can see, I'm still on my coffee table and holding my camera, so I will try once again not to make you too dizzy. I'll also apologise for the state of my nails. I was actually going to repaint them before I did this video, and I cannot for the life of me find my nail varnish remover. It has disappeared, so I apologise about that. As you can see, I've got my Midori in front of me. It's still set up exactly how I had it set up in my first video, and these are other notebooks that I do use. I have a lot more. I can't fit them all onto the table. We would literally be here for days. But these are ones that I've used more regularly than other notebooks that I do own. They're all different paper quality, they're all different price ranges, and they're all made by different people, I think, apart from the top one and this one here, which are from Paper Chase, but we'll get into that in a little while. So if you can see at the back, I tested all of these pens on the Midori paper and in these notebooks, so you could see a comparison and how the Midori paper reacts. I also used some wet media, so gouache, watercolour, acrylic paint, some water soluble crayons, things like that. So if I move these out of the way just for the moment and open up the Midori. So I've written what pen it was down, and over here what different type of pencil. They're all water soluble paint apart from the acrylic, and I've done, you know, 3 lines and a little box which I've coloured in. See if I could get better. Maybe that's a bit better for you. So this felt tip pen, I don't own an awful lot of felt tip pens. It's not my, you know, go-to sort of thing. I prefer to paint or draw, and I actually prefer to draw in biro. But I found a random felt tip pen that I had, scribbled it on. Then I've got the friction pen, which is by Pilot. Normal Bic biro, my Lamy fountain pen, a uni pin 10 I think it's called, which is just like a fine liner, mechanical pencil, smashbook pen, couple of Faber-Castell Pitt pens in different widths, Uniball eye fine liner, a pro marker, Inktense pencil, neo colour, acrylic, watercolour and gouache. Now I tried to get all of these paints, sorry about the shadow, in the same colour, and pretty much the last 3 are the same colour, obviously different opaqueness. So if I turn the page this way, you can see, I hope, that there is ghosting. The only pen that did bleed was the Pro Marker, which goes without saying, it's alcohol based pen. You can definitely see ghosting. That doesn't bother me. Some people, I guess it might bother. It really doesn't bother me at all. I have noticed that the Midori paper actually deals with wet media quite well. I haven't had any problems with it. I use gouache quite a lot, and I also use neo colours quite a lot. They respond differently when you put, you know, water onto them. especially there's a very big difference between the Neo colour and the Inktense pencil. You have to sort of work your brush more to get the Inktense to spread out. Neo colour not so much, it's a very creamy consistency. If I turn it the other way, you can sort of see the ghosting slightly more. Obviously no bleed through this side because this page is actually blank. So that's in the Midori. So if I just close that up and move that out of the way for the second. This is a leather notebook that I purchased from John Lewis in the UK. It wasn't overly expensive, but it wasn't, you know, cheap and cheerful either. It cost about £10. And the paper quality isn't fantastic. So if I find the page for you, look. These are all the same pens. I didn't do the, you know, the paint. Generally speaking, most people wouldn't use a notebook like this for wet media. They may do, so I'm sorry if I've got that wrong, but you know, I never have. So the Bic, the Lamy, Unipin, mechanical pencil, the Smashbook pen. This is the Faber-Castell Pit Artist pen in the brush nib. This is the same pen, but it's got a round nib. I don't know if it's like a thick fine liner, if you can see that. Then we have the Uniball Eye and the Pro Marker. So if I turn it over, there was bleed through on the Lamy, only slightly. I only own one fountain pen. I use the Lamy ink, so I couldn't comment on whether other ink in a fountain pen, you know, would bleed through, but I assume the wetter the ink, the more it's going to bleed through. There's also a slight bit of bleed through on the Uniball Eye. A tiny little smidge, sorry, on the Faber-Castell, and of course the Pro Marker comes straight through. Shadow wise, if I move that out of the way, you know, you can see a fair bit of ghosting through the paper. This book was from Paper Chase, and it has quite thick cardstocky sort of style paper in it. If I just flick through to the page that I tested on, all the same pens. Again, this one here is the Pitt pen in the brush tip. Now there is no ghosting. It's very thick paper, so no ghosting at all. But there was some bleed through. So the Pro Marker once again, the Uniball Eye slightly, you see a bit more ghosting on this side of the paper. The Faber-Castells more so on the round nibbed one, not so much on the brush one, and the Smashbook pen bled through. The biro left indentation on the paper. You can feel where I've scribbled the little square for you. This wasn't an overly expensive book. You know, I tried to write in it and I didn't enjoy it. I don't know whether it was because it is plain and on plain paper instead of lined. I don't know whether it's the thickness of the paper makes it feel more like a sketchbook type scenario. But I have tried to paint, not in this book, but on, I had one exactly the same in a different colour, and it didn't handle wet media at all. I don't know the correct term for it, but you know when the paper starts to sort of peel up and ball up, it did that quite a lot. So it's a bit of a weird notebook. It's good for doodles. If you like me and you like to doodle in biro, it's not a problem. This notebook is also from Paperchase. It only costs £3. It's, you know, relatively on the skinny side. I'm not expecting the best paper quality in the world. It is literally just to scribble things in. You can actually see on the first page I've just got a list of stuff that I wanted to buy for my bedroom. That's what I use it for. So if I try and find the page for you, sorry about this, here we go. All the same pens again. Ghosting on the previous page is not so bad. You know, you can see the squares, it's not over the top. Pro marker shows through a tad more. On the other side of the paper, Pro marker bled right the way through, Uniball eye right the way through, the Smashbook pen started to come through. It's nothing drastic, but if you're gonna, you know, have a good old scribble, it's gonna bleed through. The Faber-Castell didn't bleed through, but it has definitely got a lot of ghosting, you know, on the back side of the page that you've drawn on or you've written on. Once again, the Bic, you can feel, you know, the indentation of where I wrote. This is a £3 notebook. It really doesn't bother me. I'm not going to use pro markers in it. Generally speaking, this kind of notebook I would use just for lists, and I just use a biro in it. It's very quick, scribble it down, get it out of my head and onto the paper. But some people do like to use notebooks like this. I know there's a few people in the Midori group, which I will put the link down to below, who buy notebooks of this sort of size and cost, and they will cut them down to fit their Midori. I haven't done that yet, but I know there are people who do that. Now this notebook was really expensive for, you know, the kind of paper that it's got in it. This cost, I think, £19.99. I bought it in, well, it was actually a gift, but it was from Paperchase, but the actual brand is called Paperblanks. Right there. They're in so many different shops. You can buy them online. They've got different covers. I tested all the different pens again and the pencil. There really isn't any sort of ghosting this side. This side, you can see where I've scribbled. It's not necessarily ghosting with colour. It indents quite a lot, like especially the biro. I can feel every single square that I've scribbled, apart from the Pro marker and the brush Faber-Castell. Pro marker did bleed through. Nothing else really did. You can see shadow slightly. It's more the indentation which is the problem in this book. Finally, which is actually quite surprising, is my Filofax, and I love Filofaxes. I think most people do. This is the Filofax domino. The paper quality is absolutely shocking, and I didn't actually realise how shocking it was until I purchased the domino. It's terrible. It really is terrible. But there are so many websites out there where people have designed pages. I think there's one called DIY Fish. There's somebody called Philofaxy, and you can download them, and some of them you have to pay for, some of them that you don't, and you print them off yourself at home. So here are all the pens again. This is just a bit of paper that I didn't use. And pretty much every single thing bled through. Excuse that bit there. The only one that didn't was the pencil. Every single one bled through. I've used just general coloured biros before, and it is shocking. You can see everything. My fountain pen feathers really badly, scratches like mad. It's, you know, it's not very nice at all. So I hope this video has been somewhat helpful. The paper quality in the Midori is absolutely fantastic. It is, you know, very thin paper. There's definite ghosting, but just absolutely no bleed through apart from the Pro marker, and that is fine by me. So I hope this has been helpful. I will do a video about the notebooks. I'm actually going to film that straight after I've done this, and I will show you, you know, the different designs, the corresponding numbers for them. I'll tell you where I got them from, and there's a good few other places you can purchase them from. So take care, and I'll see you next time.